Guys, this is Simon with ToughTrader.com doing the market preview for the 15th of March. Running a little bit late this morning, so I apologize for that. Important disclaimer, past performance is not indicative of future results. Significant risk in trading futures. You can lose all your capital. I can't make it any clearer than that. Make sure you have a trading edge and a plan to exploit that trading edge so you do not get crushed in the process of learning. The learning curve can be steep. Okay, and you should give yourself plenty of time to learn how to trade one step at a time. You should get consistent, and you should have an edge that lets you consistently pull money out of the market and that puts you ahead considering all your losses and all your gains, right? So have a risk plan. Make sure you're following it. Let's get started. I'm sharing my trade plan in hopes it'll help you become a better trader, but make sure you're following your own process. There's no question about that. So, yesterday was an interesting day, right? We thought we were opening inside a balance. I want to go and cover this really quick. We were opening inside a balance, right? What kind of price action did we get by opening inside a balance? And by the way, for those who are struggling with ES, I did a video. See how even though we appeared, right? When you look at it like this, you're like, oh, well, we drove straight down. That was so easy to figure out. But really it wasn't, right? It was pretty snappy and whippy both ways. It really wasn't a straight drive. It was more like a stair step down, hard drive up, stair step down. This two-sided price action is making it difficult for a lot of traders. And then the other thing that was tricky is you would have thought the prior day, ES was really the stronger of the two. It wasn't as weak as NQ. And NQ, if you look at how NQ played out, right? Look how whippy and choppy this was. This is a huge range. These are 30-point little rotations right here. So that translates to $600 a contract, right? And most people look at it and go, well, of course, that wasn't that hard to trade. I thought it was really hard to trade personally with these huge rotations snapping back and forth, and it really couldn't make a decision of which way it wanted to go. And what was that a result of? We knew going into the day that the market would probably look like that because when you look at where we opened, okay, we opened, here I'm going to lay this out in half hour. We opened right inside of prior day's value. See that right there? The blue area is prior day's value. We opened up right in that. Okay, no question about it. When you open inside value, expect two-sided choppy action. That's what you generally get when you open inside value. And that's valuable information, right? It means, A, your trades won't be as easy. You get directional moves. Notice it gets much more directional and the rotations get cleaner when you're outside of value versus when you're inside of value, you expect it choppy within that area, right? That's important strategic information, right? If someone tells you, hey, it's going to be a choppy area, number one thing, make sure you really want the trade. Number two, don't keep clicking in that area over and over and over again. You're going to get stopped. Number three, the moves will not be as crisp. When you're outside of value and you get to a resistance area, the reversals tend to be quick and snap back the other way. Inside of value, everyone's kind of looking around going, well, I'm not sure if we want to stop it here or maybe 3 points higher or maybe 3 points lower. No one really has any urgency to act here, which is why you don't get the quick snaps. Now, considering that, right, how does that translate? Well, if you look at how the rotations worked yesterday. Well, wrong market, but that's all right. We'll fix that in just a second. Okay, when you look at ES, right? So we opened inside value. Let's see here. Let's get over here. Right click, reset. There we go. Bottom of value is down here, right? Which would be 70.63 1/4. If you look at 70.63 1/4, really. Wow, what an uncool way to start the day. Let's see where they hid that. And just there's my drawing tool back. 70.63 1/4. Okay, I want to show y'all something. Okay, see how we're all chop non-directional down here, like maybe we'll go up, maybe we'll go down. Let's rush it down. Nope, let's bring it back up. Below 76 and 63 and a quarter. Crisp move down, crisp move up, crisp move down, crisp move up, back into resistance, crisp move down. The moves are much more decisive outside of value. Then look at the small bars and the constant wicks that we get on almost every point, right? Where they can't move it. And that's because everyone's trying to use this area as various support resistance areas to find rotations, right? But when you're outside of value, you're having to go back to find where those support resistance areas are, and they're untested. So when you get it, everyone, meaning all of us, go, oh, hey, look, like I had 27.50.50, I think was the yellow zone, was the half gap. Everyone's looking for the half gap. You, me, FT71, E-mini wizard, E-mini player, E-mini everybody is looking at 27.50.50, right? So what you're doing is when you get down here, it's like we're all going, yeah, that should hold. We all put our money at the same time, right? We get the first lift, then they come back and try to break it. See how they try to break the low, right, repeatedly? But we're all looking at 27.50.50, so it's a strong area. We constantly get strong responses. People get panicky at the bottom, overcommit, and get short squeezed out. We backside test a value area, attempt to get back in. Remember, it's the second trap, guys, in the room that I'm looking for, right? Not the first trap, second trap. Come back in, get back below. Everyone goes, oh, we're not going to be able to get back in, right? And down it rolls. We break the low of the day. There's no energy below the low of the day. It took too much energy to get down there. These guys get trapped, and we chopped around. That's how it works, right? So taking that in NQ was the same way. So if we take that information and now we roll over to today, where are we trading? 70.73. So if we look on NQ, the first thing I'm going to note, I'm opening in value. The next thing I'm going to note on NQ, see how there's a clear, oh wait, you can't see that. I apologize. We'll fix this. See how there's a clearly defined point of control here. There's a clearly, here, I'll highlight them. Here, clearly defined point of control. Here, pretty clearly defined point of control. Pretty clearly defined point of control. See how there's no clearly defined point of control, right? There's definitely a point of control, but just visually, see how it doesn't just stand out in any one particular area. It's kind of just generic, kind of a mesa top looking type plateau where there's no peak on it, right? It's easy for the market to travel through here. B, I'm opening up in this area. So what do I want? I know my moves will be easier above 70.94 or below 70.56. Okay. Number two, I have an untested naked volume point of control. That means it's simply been untested. It starts at the TPO point of control and goes to the volume point of control, 71.26 to 71.30. If we get above 70.94, this is the natural target up. There's really not much else to take care of. And then this area above 71.30, there's a lot of repairs that have to go back on. Go through here. Expect a lot of wide two-way action through this location, right? Poorly auctioned, your first resistance point, which, guys, I've already marked in the chart, is approximately here. Auctions complete right here, which is roughly 71.98. Getting above, closing back below would kind of be my clue that we might push back in after that. And that would be a pretty nice extension, obviously, to the upside. It's actually almost, that's almost, let's see, 120 points up, right? That would be 71.70. It would make sense to get exhaustion up here. And that's within the realm of the ranges that NQ's been having, by the way. So it is conceivable that we can trade there. Below value, okay, so now this becomes an issue. This is the top of the open window right here at 70.33. This is the, so someone asked me, a member in the room, what Dalton's gap is. Dalton's gap is the top of wherever we got from, whatever the high print was, which is roughly 7,004. Tom, I think you were the one that asked. Dalton's gap is the top. Most people are looking at the settle price. Dalton, who wrote Mind Over Markets, simply looks at the high print from that day prior to gapping. He considers this the gap. He simply calls this the settle price. Most people call this the gap. That's your next target down. If we break 70.33, that's 7,004 to 69.99, followed by a rather generic and wide area of 69.82 to 69.68. That's your general support area. There's not much to fix in this profile. I got to tell you, the nearest place that I see really good support is all the way down here at 69.23 to 69.15 if we bust the 69.99. So the next question is this achievable? 70.58 minus 100 brings up 69.58, puts us right near the 69.68. I would assume that I get an attempt at least at a response back up. I'll be looking for a big reversal out of this area, but that also still pits from 69.68 to 69.15 within that 100 to 150 point rotation that we've been having, and that still puts us within range. I'll definitely be looking for responses back up from that 69.20-ish neighborhood, right? So remember, inside of value, as long as we're above 70.56, I expect, again, just like yesterday morning, fast, whippy, two-way action. I can slow down my pace inside there on NQ. We just opened, or we're just about to open. I'm going to cover ES in just a second. I'm burning the first half hour. I expect two-sided whippy action, open auction, non-drive. If I get something different, the drive has to get me above 7,100 if we open drive higher, and then I'll change my game plan to looking to be directional. But I want to see a clear drive and out of that 70.94, and then my target would be 71.26 to 71.30. Okay, let's go do ES real quick. This looks like ES. Let's reset this chart, bring it back, get rid of the myriad of lines that I have here, and go again. We're opening at 27.59. We're opening inside value. What do I expect? Open auction inside value. Below 27.49 a quarter, I expect wider rotations and directional move. The clear target, right? So we already tested the half gap overnight. It was actually, we got almost to the half gap, and then we owned that. Let's see, where we come in Globex low again? 20. 27.45, which is exactly that, is just underneath the low and just at Dalton's gap fill and just in front of the settle price going back to March 8th. If we get back underneath Globex low, this becomes the clear target. It's actually pretty decent profile there. 27.34 to 32, I expect responsive buyers, followed by, if we get underneath that right there, 27.22 and a quarter to 27.1750. It doesn't always lay out that easily. The big problem down here, so the good thing is we have points of control that are untested, and that'll probably act as support. The problem is there's really no damage to the profile to lean against. The damage in the profiles is actually way back here, going back to March 5th. That profile still needs to be repaired. And way up here, that profile needs to be repaired. Everything else is in between is okay, and that's actually why I would argue for a balanced market over a wider range versus directional. Once this gets repaired, we should see huge counter rotations back up, but it's pretty far from where we're trading right now to even consider getting in here. I'd be excited if we got in here because I'd expect a big counter rotation, but I don't think we have a very good chance of getting to either one today, would be my guess, right? So that's my 2 cents. I'm looking for 10-point rotations as I outlined in the video last night. Okay, 10-point rotations in ES have been key, have been giving great counter rotations if you have an area or a location nearby, right? Number 2, tick divergence, right? And I'm looking for traders to get trapped. What does it look? Oh, sorry, you can't see this, can you? So sorry, guys. Let me go back to this. I keep forgetting to flash up the screen from my other computer. Let's erase this. I'll do it one more time. Okay. I expect two-sided action inside of this area. Whippy, non-directional. You get a move one way, snaps back the other way, kind of like yesterday, right? Below here, right, we have Dalton's gap, which was what Globex low was, along with the settle price. That rings up right around 27.45. That was Globex low. If Dalton's gap fails, I would expect 27.34 to 27.32 to be the next area. It doesn't always lay out that easily, but there's no damage in this profile, so that's a pretty natural target there. And then the same thing with the March 7th profile, where you have 27.17 to 27.22. That's the next natural target. The areas that need to be repaired on this chart are way up here, right, up at 27.90, and way down here below 2700. Those are the two areas that stand out the most. And my guess is, if I had to say something, we end up with a wide range where whichever one we fix, my guess is if we fix this, we'll then rotate down and fix this. If we rotate down and fix this area, we will then give us permission to rotate back up and check up on this area. It doesn't have to work that way. Obviously, we're talking about 200 points of ES range. You shouldn't take that lightly of, oh, it's just going to do this, right? And that's clearly not what I'm doing. I'm scalping my way through the day, right? But that is generally what the market wants to achieve, is it wants to fix up these areas. You will notice, right? See how the market doesn't have to come and fix it all. See, we left all this damage back here. See how we came back and checked up pretty much on the first low area. We really didn't even check into the anomaly there, and we just took off. So it doesn't have to come back to either one. We can actually just balance in between here till we build enough energy. But you can already see that we're getting two-sided price action through here, right? Additionally, the profile on ES was a long liquidation profile. You see how much time we spent here? It's very likely that we come back up and check up on this 27.55, right? We spent a lot of time here. It's really a wide point of control, which makes it a magnet on both sides. I would expect them to keep coming back to here until we get a decisive break up or down, okay? Because that was a wide profile. And then again, this is the first, 27.85 is the first natural upside target. And it's worth noting, yesterday's profiles repaired at 27.7250. I am looking for a reversal out of there, just like I am on NQ. And what I want specifically, right? So I want to get above that 27.72, and I want to establish above with a 5-minute bar. Its color is black. That's not going to work very good for us. I want to establish above on a 5-minute bar and then get back below. If I see that process where we come up, get above, hold above, preferably 15, 20, 30 minutes, an hour above, and then we get back below, that would be where I'd be looking for a pushback. And where would I look for a pushback to? This point of control would be where, obviously there's various targets along the way. I misdrew that. Let me start again. We drive up. We get above that D period right there at 27.72. We establish above for X amount of time, 15, 20 minutes, an hour. And then we close back below on a 5-minute bar, right? My stop would be above the swing high, and my target would be back to the 27.57, which would, for me, make it a failed range extension and push back down. This pattern will be seen a lot more. Push up, sideways, get back underneath, come all the way back down. It's roiling a lot of traders who have gotten used to this, right? And we're getting a lot more of this, and just kicks your P&L horribly when that happens. So you can see we've pulled back to that 27.55 TPO point of control. We should now find attempts to respond back up, right, as we get whippy inside the range. So there's one other thing I wanted to show the members in the room, okay, is, and I'll share that with the people on Twitter, and that's the algo over here. Yesterday, what you'll see that was really interesting to me was, oh, I do need this still. Hold on a second here. Okay. Let's go to yesterday's. Let's get rid of the overnight. Okay. So if you look yesterday, see how we had a dearth. This is the open from yesterday on the ES algo. And you'll notice we just couldn't string together anything that was just easy, I guess I would put it, right? So see how there just wasn't a lot of upside algos firing. This is the only big delta that I had was right here, right? So the downside deltas were pretty good. We gap filled, we came up, and then as soon as we got underneath this big delta, see how we had these two indicate to me that we had large volume transactions there. And as soon as we get underneath those two guys, see how we get underneath here, and then whoosh back to the downside, and see how we almost perfectly backside test back over here. So notice this is the point. This is the point where that algo, where the delta busted these two volume bars here. And notice there's almost no positive deltas there. So I want you to contrast that to the strength when you see big deltas stack up one on top of the other. So see this right here where, see on the bottom where these are showing me that they're pushing down hard at the low. See that right here, this purple, they're pushing down to low. The 3 that's indicated here tells me they're pushing hard and they're stacking deltas negatively down here, right? So what you end up with is people pressing at the low. And once you get above these guys, right? Get above this guy, get above this guy. See how many stacked deltas we get positive in a row, right? This is the anatomy of a short squeeze. See how they lifted here, and then they get exhausted. You see the volume step back in, the divergence, and then you'll see eventually the push back down once we get below the attempted push back up. What am I trying to bring out in that point is that, first of all, the algo does help us figure out, okay, is there any energy to this? This is where Ron said the market's primarily telling us there's not a lot to do. See that? It was just a dearth. See between that 915 and 950 area where we were just chopping back and forth. The market just couldn't make up its mind. And really all through here, the market just couldn't make up its mind what it wanted to do until it finally got an impulse move lower here. See that? And then the backside test to that scene of the crime, which was right here, that's what set you up for the push back to the lows. And it was a beautiful trade, right? The reason I bring that up is I had one of the members in the room saw this short, right, against VWAP. He saw it in NQ, and I'll show you the same trade in NQ. So this is very small time frame, right? But notice on NQ, let me get rid of this. Notice on NQ, there's no big deltas firing here. This is the first big delta I have as the way I measure NQ. This is the first big delta I have all the way through here, all the way up till 9:20 in the morning. That's the first significant delta I have on NQ. Notice how when you look back to the left, look how choppy that is. Excuse me, let me go through here, 8:30. See how there's no one committing to any big size there, one way or the other. It's just chop. See that? And then you'll watch it come alive after 9:45. See all the big negative deltas come in? And then you'll see at the bottom, they start trying to press here, right? You see the big volume starting to press in through here. That's what that's all indicating. And see all the threes, they're pressing down. The red threes, they're pressing down on delta, right? And what you'll see here is they finally press down hard. See how we get vertical and stacked? They press down hard, and as soon as we get above these presses, you get stacked deltas plus volume. You get above them. That's the big lift that we had yesterday, right? And then watch. So watch this key area right here. This guy right here, right? There's a big delta push, and there's a big volume push right on top of it, right? So I'm going to draw a line underneath there, right? So first thing you're going to see is how we backside test into that. It holds a support. See as it holds support. Now watch, we're going to close below. Wait, it wasn't there yet. Oh, you know why? That's the low of the day. I apologize. You lose track on the 5 range, but you're going to see they're going to try and press underneath here, right? So realize this is where they bought. They try to press underneath. What time am I at? 12:26. Here we go. So see these right here where we get the big positive deltas. Sorry, I put my location in the wrong place, which is why you have to have the 5 minutes to lay above. See how they pressed really hard? The blue are showing big buy deltas. These are showing big volumes, right? So if I take this, right, start from here to here. There's my point of control from this stacked big push, right? See how they try to hold it as support? See how they closed it underneath? See how they backside tested it right there, right? And now that's where you get the roll back to the downside, right? And then you're going to see again when we get to the bottom over here. Okay, see how we got below the low there to the left? So you see the lift, right? They made a big effort to lift. You see the press down here. They made an effort to lift. Watch when we get underneath them right here. See this? This is now your swing low. I'm pretty sure that was the new low for the day right in there. See how they tried to press underneath and there was just no energy. They all lifted. And then what you wanted to see overnight. So see all these threes through here. So watch, we're going to mark that off. We'll just mark it off. It's approximately here, right? Color white. Okay, now watch when we go to the overnight session because it was late in the day. That area should act as a pivot point, both above and below for a launch. It should either act as resistance above or a launch above. So now let's go look at what they did. Come in. See how we come right up? That's late in the session. Here comes Asia. Okay, so see how they tried right above right there? See how they tried to push above? See how the point of control couldn't close? I had to go to the overnight session because the day session didn't provide me with the opportunity to show you what this looked like, right? Now watch that. Keep an eye on that white level. See rejection again, attempted to close above again, right? And that's where we are right now. See how we haven't been able to lift above. So what does that tell me? If I get a point of control close above that 70.73 this morning, or I get an impulse move, right? I get over to that 70.73 and I get an impulse move like that. I want the first backside push down with the stop on a close below 70.73 for a push out. Look how many times that's been respected overnight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep going back. 6, right? 7. 7 times that 70.73 has been respected on 7 individual tests. So guess what? The algos and the institutional guys know at that point. The more you press over that to that 70.73, when we establish above, you're going to generate a short squeeze above that area. There's no question in my mind at all. See how they tried to get the short squeeze going here, but the volume that you had volume sellers. See that? Oh, wrong one. 1, 2, 3. Notice all the volume bars are on down negative bars, pushes, right? So guess what? If we close above that 70.73, the next time we get above that 70.73, you're damn right. I'll be looking long to establish a long up here for a push to the upside and a short squeeze, because you'll have all those people from overnight, late in the session yesterday, for a push back to the upside. So I would have that in my notes. 70.73 is key. I would look to attempted rejection. But if we establish, notice how we got the point of control above and then the bar closed below, right? As soon as I get a green bar with the point of control above, you can bet I'll be pounding in on that trade for a move to the upside. So anyways, that's my 2 cents, guys. I hope that helped. Guys on YouTube, thank you for joining this morning. I'll be back tomorrow morning. We are obviously pushing down. Let's take a quick look at what the internals look like really fast. Here, we'll close yesterday's. Close this. And then what do we have here? Have not taken a close look, but we will now. We have advancers 1316 against 1291. Advanced decline ratio is 1.02. Nothing horrible yet. We have opened inside range. We're just grinding back to the point of control on ES. Tick. Is showing negative 144. We opened positive 600. That's kind of neutral. Shows balance really more than anything else. And then, yes, we've had open drive. They're retesting the low from yesterday, but not Globex low. This is a pretty important area. The thing I noticed the most that stood out to me is that the buy the dip crowd from overnight is struggling, to say the least. So that's my 2 cents for the day. I expect from the key locations to find responsive buyers, and you can see how the white zone's holding this area up, which makes sense. Now we'll see what the next step is, and we'll use the algo in combination with our key locations to find the best trades for the day. So guys on YouTube, thank you. If you like the broadcast, if you please hit the like button, would really help me out. And we will talk to you guys later. Guys in the room, I will be there momentarily. I'm going to refill my coffee.